Is it on? I think so. Howdy do. It's gossip time. It is. Mute. There we go. Pop out the chat. Take that down. Take this down. Take that down. Turn that off. Hi, Tia. How's it going? Boy. It's a lot going on out there in the world. We'll have a chat about it, I think. What y'all think? I got a little wrestling gossip too. Man, come back. 2024 is good. Already? It's just a few things going on. I don't even know those names, Tammy. I ain't up on the gossip, I will say. I heard a few things on the streets, and so hi, Sylvia. And so I just thought I'd come pass it along, you know, what I heard. So we'll see what happens there, but who? Oh, there's a whole bunch of who's. I got at least 4 or 5 who's on here. I got some, you know, sort of calmer reads. They're not so salacious, but most of them are. And so we'll get into it though. But how y'all doing out there in the world? It ain't snowing here yet, so I don't need it. I don't want it. I'm over snow. Just so it knows up there. I'm really over you. I really am. Gotta tap it in. Hi, Terry. So we got a list. We'll be here for like an hour and a half, possibly something like that. Maybe 2. I bet. Northeast snow is not cute at all. When I lived in Pittsburgh, it was nuts. Got up to your knees. It was 50 something here for Christmas. I'm all right. As long as it ain't 80, I don't care. Just stay down in this realm. I'm just fine. You can give me 30 degrees, just don't snow. That's all I'm saying. I got a jacket. Got 5 jackets. 49 in Phoenix. Yeah, that's winter for y'all for sure. Which I'm sure after the 120s, it might be a good thing. Might be a good thing. I'll take the cold. Keep the snow. The snow is cute when it's like maybe 2 days tops, and you ain't got to go nowhere. The whole city kind of shuts down, like around Christmas time. You can sew, and then you can look outside, and then it's like, oh, that's cute, and then it's all radio silent, and everything is peaceful and calm, and that's enough. It's like you don't need much else after that. So. No ice. Oh, good God, no ice. When I lived in Oklahoma, we had blizzards and ice storms many a times, and I am over that. That is for sure. Especially for a person who walks everywhere. That was definitely not cute. I never failed, though, because I did the baby step. I had to walk. My job was 3.7 miles away. I walked to work every day. That was cute. No ice. Uphill and downhill. Oklahoma is full of that. It's, it calls it the plains. Yes, it's flat, but there's a lot of this business too. Not giant hills, though, but enough to where if you don't walk fast enough, you ain't going to get up. Yeah, I went through a lot of sills. And everything froze. Stop signs, trees, stop lights, people, everything froze. Now Pittsburgh they had the big giant roller coaster hills, so that was not cute. Yeah, I got rain and snow. See, that's just no. Because then the rain turns to hard rain or snow or ice once it gets dark. So keep it. Okay, it's 5 o'clock now. Not yet. 75. Oof. It's been windy here too. We've had a lot of that. I don't mind the wind. It was howling the other day. Like, well, you go right ahead and howl then. You just go right ahead and do that. Mm-mm. Okay. Yeah, the trees are that's the big thing here too. They trim a lot of them. They trim trees around here pretty much all year. They lose a lot of branches. Tennessee. I've never been to Tennessee. Where's the Athens of Tennessee? See, that's Oklahoma though, Don Ron. That's you get it all in 15. Because there's a thing in the South, especially Oklahoma. You don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes and it'll change. When I was in California, we were going back to Oklahoma for whatever it was. And it rained, it snowed, and the sun came out, and then it rained again all in one day. I'm like, okay. All in one day. That's Oklahoma. Very bipolar. I live in Oregon now. Or Oregon, as they say it up here. Okay, it's 5 o'clock. So here's the thing. So, up there. Here's what we got today. So, y'all remember the last time, or those who were here the last time, or those who seen the video last time. Let me use this pen. That way I sound less threatening. Last time, we talked about Christian Keys, the actor who was accusing the billionaire. He won't name the name, but everybody is assuming it's Tyler Perry. He accused the billionaire of assault, basically, saying he climbed into bed with him and he tried to grab his crotch and all these type of things, right? So that was Christian Keys last time. So apparently he's supposed to be in some movie coming up and now he's silent. Rumor has it he has been paid by somebody to now be quiet. So we'll see. Last time also, TD Jakes being accused of being a power bottom because he goes and he hangs out at the Puff Daddy parties. And the Puff Daddy parties are notorious, apparently, for being debaucherous. And so why was the pastor, the good old pastor, there at those type of things? So we did a reading the last time, and let me show y'all some things here while we're here. Is this mixed up? No, it's not. Okay. So last time I said that he was kind of being, I'll just use this one. This way. He was kind of being Papa Bearish because there was some guys that were being taken advantage of, and he wasn't there to intercourse with all of the other people that were doing debaucherous things. That's what I said. But he was there for the protection or provision of some guys or something like that. And I got something around this. This came from Amazon. That's green. I got something like this. I got these cards. And so there were the two guys here, but they were not underage, is what I remember saying. Well, Pastor T.D. Jakes went on Christmas morning. He said he's not here to address all the allegations because they're unfounded, blah, 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 blah. And he defended himself, basically saying, I am not guilty of what you accuse me of, and this, and this, and this, and this. Well, now there is a prophet by the name of Manasseh. Manasseh says he was one of the guys that you groomed, Mr. T.D. Jakes. Not only, just like Eddie Long groomed those other boys, not only did you groom me, but there's two other ones. This is what came up in the last read. I did not see this way. He said, not only was it me, but it was two other ones, and they will come forward. See, last time, this is why when you do a tarot reading, for those who are in the class, pay attention to this. This is why when you do a tarot reading, you must be open to what else it might say. You have asked your question, but it's not going to answer sometimes. The thing you asked is going to answer what's more important first. And then you can rephrase the question and do it again. But there are some young men. These are not underaged, though. But they are young men. I think one of them was 20. I think right now Manasseh is however old he is. I don't know. He said his age, but I forgot. But they weren't underaged. But they also were not your wife. So let's just put that out there too. But he said that he was groomed by T.D. Jakes, and there are two more that are going to come forward, and they got proof. He's 33. Thank you. He said he's got proof. Messaging back and forth between you and the pastor. Manasseh and the pastor. He's got proof, he said. So we'll take a look at that too. So, there is also a rumor, because yes, Cat Williams has been throwing everybody's business out there in the street. And the rumor for Kevin Hart in particularly is that Kevin Hart has taken part in some of the debaucherous things that the Puff Daddies of the world have, and that's how he got as far as he did, because he was one of those people who said, I'm not putting on a dress, I'm not doing all these different things that are sort of going to tarnish his masculinity, his manhood, because they want to put every black man in a dress in Hollywood and da 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 da. And then he put one on, and so then there's the accusation that's the reason you put one on is because you have sold your soul and your anus to the powers that be. So that's the accusation right now. And then we'll go to Cat Williams after that and see if he is just jealous or if he's telling some truths out here. Now, when it comes to the joke stealing, they got receipts for that. Because the joke stealing, they got video of you telling one joke and then someone a couple of years later telling your exact joke, or at least something like it. So there is that. Kelly Price, the singer. Kelly Price has set some fire to the church as well, because she has come out and said that basically she was on a show called Sunday's Best. Sunday's Best is like American Idol for the gospel community. You got contestants, they come on, they sing, they get judged. Somebody wins, they get a contract, blah, blah, blah. So Kelly Price said that I was the only one on that show, and it was 4 of us, who was not effing around on their spouse or messing with little boys. She threw it all out there. Because she was clapping back at somebody, and she just went there. And so the 4 people who were on that show was Kelly Price, Kirk Franklin, Erica Campbell, and Jonathan something. Kirk Franklin. Erica Campbell is from a gospel singing group called Mary Mary, and Jonathan, whatever his last name was, I don't know who he is. So she has sung gospel songs before, but she is not a gospel artist, and that is one thing she wanted to make sure that she laid out there, because somebody was judging her, saying, "Is this the same gospel singer, Kelly?" Because she cursed and did all that. Anyway, so somebody was passing judgment, and then she went there. You know how it is when you just got to snap back. And so she snapped, but she went all the way there. There's another competition show called So You Think You Can Dance, and Nigel Lithgow was one of the judges, and he has now stepped down because he's being accused of sexual assault. He's denied the allegations, but he is still stepping down. So Taraji P. Henson and Oprah and Monique and that whole saga there, that's getting a little more clouded too. So everybody's blaming Oprah, as Oprah is one of the producers of The Color Purple remake. So Taraji P. Henson has been going on different programs stating her grievances about not being paid very well. They're also saying they didn't get car service. They're also saying that we had to share the dressing rooms. We didn't get craft service. Like this budget of $100 million for this movie, and we got little to nothing. And so, of course, everybody's blaming Oprah. So I want to see about Oprah's reputation, but I want to see about Taraji's future gigs that she may or may not get, because she is calling out the industry for its failings, and they don't really like that. So we're going to take a look and see if things will stay a little healthy for her, or will they get a little sparse. T.I. and Tiny, they are accused yet again. T.I. and Tiny, if you don't know who that is, I'll explain when I get there. But They are accused yet again of, right now they're being accused of drugging some girl and then getting her back to their hotel. They have been accused of such a thing before, and everybody ain't lying all the time, is all I'm saying. But there are some holes in the young lady's story. She said she was drugged and she woke up in the hotel room of T.I. and Tiny or something like that. But when she tells the story, she has a whole lot of details of what happened in between. So which is it? Do you remember everything that happened, or were you from one spot to another because you were drugged? So we'll see if any of that's true. Then we'll look at Cat Williams to see if he's jealous or telling the truth too. And then Chris Jericho, for those who do not know, that is a wrestler. He is being accused of sexual harassment. There's a whole story there too. All the way back, there is another wrestler by the name of CM Punk. He was being accused of being a whole cancer to the company, and he's not very good for us, so we need to kick him out. And so there are some other wrestlers that stormed into his dressing room, and they had a fight. Actually, well, he hit them and beat them up because they came in, and then a whole kerfuffle happened. And so he got suspended, and then the other ones who stormed in the room, they got suspended, but they came back and he didn't. And then eventually he came back. And so Chris Jericho claims he was there, but at the same time, everybody who was there got suspended and he didn't. And so everybody else is saying, no, he was not there. So he interjected himself into this, even though it had nothing to do with him. And now he's saying he didn't sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, so he can talk if he wants to. Everybody else signed an NDA, so they can't say nothing about the incident. He's saying he was there and he didn't sign one, so he can talk if he wants to. The lawyer for CM Punk says, well, that's good to know. I'll take note of it, because I didn't know you were there, so maybe now he can get subpoenaed and questioned. So he should have stayed out of it, basically. But some other guy on some other platform, he has a website or something, he says, well, hey, Chris, what about all the NDAs that you make people sign? Non-disclosures agreements. And then there was nothing. He didn't say anything to that. And so now all the accusations are coming out that this young lady accused, well, not accused, but there's a story that this young lady was out partying with, the wrestlers and all that. They were all hanging together. It's not like she was a groupie. She was a wrestler too. And she was invited back to the hotel room of Chris Jericho, and she thought other people were going to be there. And so apparently she arrived to the room, and it was a Harvey Weinstein situation, to where she gets in there, and then he's got the open road business going on. So she freaks out and she leaves. She goes to Chris Jericho's boss, the leader of the wrestling company, called Tony Khan. She tells him what happens. Apparently, she then signs an NDA, and then she gets released from the company because she asked to be. So now they want to know, is that true? Like, did she sign an NDA so that the company stays squeaky clean, or are they covering up something, basically? Did he do what he said he did, or is being accused of? All that and more. Gossip time. Okay, so we'll start with Jesus. Christian, that was a lot. We'll start with Christian Keys. So Christian Keys accuses the billionaire of sexual harassment or assault or whatever it was. And this billionaire, who won't name who it is, but everybody believes it's Tyler Perry. And we accused this billionaire. He went in that video and also said that everybody will find out who it is in this situation because he's going to turn over the recording and any footage he has to the police. That way an investigation can be done. Now, the statute of limitation has passed. He said he let it pass on purpose because this is not about money. This is about justice. And he wants to make sure that this person does not do this to someone else. But right now, he has gone silent. He has said nothing, and nothing has happened. So much for justice. So where are we now is what I want to know. Is he letting this go? If so, why? If he's not, if so, why? Where are we now? Where are we now? We're in flux. Two of Pentacles. Page of Swords. So, we're navigating lies and gossip at the present moment. I said this too in the last one. What was going to happen, and it happened. I seen a couple happen on small scale, but I seen a couple stories. I said that what's going to happen is they're going to say that he is doing this for some ulterior motive. He has something in mind. This is not just. He said he's tired of carrying this around, and I'm like, okay, what's going to happen is you are going to be talked about as a person who is not seeking justice but money. You have some sort of motive. You're not doing this out of the goodness of your heart or trying to protect young people coming up in the industry. So now we have the Sun, Queen of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords. So the exposure is causing some anxiety here for somebody, whoever's doing the lying and the gossiping. Queen of Pentacles, Four of Swords. There is also the retreat of some sort of support here. Some woman knows about this as well. And she is no longer helping. And she's no longer... She's pulling back. She's waffling, though. She's not just completely given up on the situation, but she doesn't want to be that closely involved either. But she knows what happened. Word of warning is the Hermit. So there is some silence and isolation, and that is actually going to play a very bad role here. The Ten of Swords, I think it's nearly over. Okay. Okay. There's the Devil and the Ten of Wands. So the rumor is that he has been paid. Thank you, Debsy. He has been paid. And that's why he's silent. Sure, fine. I don't see that here. I don't have any money cards at all. The two, for those who are learning tarot, there are 14 pentacle cards. They can't all be money. So money cards are like your Ace of Pentacles, your Nine of Pentacles, possibly your Page. The Pentacle cards have scenarios they run through. They're not all money cards. This is the juggling of life and the rest of what you have to do, like your home and work type thing. So this person here is sort of conserving themselves. It's like, I have something that I have to think about, which is me, my life, my career, my this, my that. This here would give me the indication that somebody has not been paid, but threatened. Now, I do not have the Five of Swords. Five of Swords would be technically your bully card, but it's more of a personality trait than an action. But you can call that the threatening card. This is a scenario where someone has been taken out, and then you have been reminded that that person has been. All this is dangerous. The Death card in the tarot means change. It doesn't mean death. It can. But I use this in combination with other things, like being laid to rest, for death. Like, you have to give me a combination. You can't show me one card and I say somebody died. It has to be a combination, and there it is. I think someone has been threatened, and that's why we no longer talk about this. There still could have been payment that is made. But this here, like I said, when you do your reading, be open to what else it's saying. This is saying someone was threatened. And it hangs over them. That's why the exposure causes anxiety. That's why in your word of warning is isolation. We shall see, though. Okay. There's your Five of Cups there, too. So, Manasseh, the prophet Manasseh, versus TD Jakes. What's the question? Manasseh says he has been groomed by TD Jakes, and he has proof. He says there are two other guys that are going to come forward with this. So it's not just me. It's a couple of other ones. And I got proof. Mind you, grooming is you get a young man who has some sort of dream to be something that you are, or is a person who is of a disadvantaged background. That's who they say. That's who they say Puff Daddy goes after. It's the people with the disadvantaged background, and he comes and he waves contracts in your face and then tells you have to do all these other side things, and then you happily do them because he's dangling your future in front of you. And so, well, I don't know about happily do them, but you do them because of the future thing. So that's one side of the grooming, and then the other side is, I want to study under you. I want to be your apprentice. I want to learn how you do what you do. What does he get out of it? He gets his young man. This isn't a long game. This is like short-term pleasure. That's pretty much what they do. Eddie Long did the same exact thing. He said that he didn't, Eddie Long, and yet where there's smoke, there's fire. There wasn't huge amounts of proof, but the guys were paid off. They were saying it's more nuisance lawsuit, like we just want them to go away type of thing. But Eddie Long, Pastor Eddie Long, who has died now, but Pastor Eddie Long had these young men that he was raising, or grooming as it's called, and he was buying them things and taking them places and, doing the whole grooming thing. He said he didn't, they said he did, but they have pictures of him in their telephone. Him doing this, he's in his bathroom mirror with one of these things like this. And he sends that picture to those boys. What boy wants a picture of his pastor in bike shorts, the tight little biker shorts? What boy wants a picture of his pastor with a compression shirt and biker shorts like this in their phone? The reason it was even bigger of a deal is because Pastor Long was completely, totally up front in the streets with his anti-LGBT everything. Every time they had a parade, he had an opposite parade to tell everybody they was going to hell and these type of things. Meanwhile, you taking pictures of yourself in the bathroom and showing them to little boys. Well, not little boys, you know, they weren't 50, for God's sakes. Anyway. So, TD Jakes is now being accused of grooming by people who claim they have proof. What's going to happen there? Will there be some exposure of TD Jakes, or will there be some exposure of you made all this up? What shall we see? What shall we see? This is the year of exposure. All coming out. It already started January 1st. Which is fight, fight, fight. You know, you're just bad news for our politician friends and those in Hollywood too. First card, Six of Cups. Nostalgia, old friends, memories, baby Jaren. But there is some old friend energy there too. There's security within the old friend too. The Six of Cups is a safe space type of card. It's usually here, you know, you find your happy place because it's memories, it's nostalgia, something from the past, but it could be childhood now too, but a safe space, somewhere where you feel as though I could go, or someone I could go to for security. And then there's change. Death card. And there's a change in that security. There's a change in that safe space. That's not to condemn just yet, but there is a change in the safe space. Strength, overcoming. Eight of Wands, conversations, and the Hermit. So there is some isolation, and it's someone is being, okay, I see. There is some people here who have sort of been hiding out, if you will. And there's probably the other two people that are coming out, and they're being sort of talked into sharing their story. There is some isolation here, or they pulled back from everything, but there is some coaxing and talking into of those things because of the change. There's new talking. There's new talking coming out here. So some little new action. So this is not just it's not just conversation. Something follows this. That still doesn't mean guilt, mind you. This just means something is coming forward. Something will emerge. You will hear something else about this. Judgment and the word of warning. Yep, announcements are coming out. This is again also 2 cards of the past. Something that happened in the past is coming up. This is nostalgia. That is the past. So both are past cards, but they both are about something coming back from the past. This is usually a person. That's usually an event of some sort. So whatever is repeating or whoever is coming back from the past has some very bad news for everybody involved or accused. The Hangman. Perspective changes is what's going to follow that action. 9 of Swords. It's going to cause a lot of grief and anxiety. Last card, a lot of loss and grief as well. So this is going to make a lot of people very sad and stressed and worried. This thing here. Whatever these announcements are that are coming out, changes some perspectives, and some sadness and stress is coming out. So I'm going to look at this from the point of view type of thing. We'll look at the point of view of Manasseh to TD Jakes and TD Jakes to Manasseh. So let's see. We'll do 5 cards for each one. Okay. I have been instructed to use 2 decks here. Come with me. Okay. So, okay. Well, no. TD Jakes to Manasseh. How does he see Manasseh? He does know that name because it's been given to him, as well as some of the other people. So he's not going to be blindsided by this. So, TD Jakes to Manasseh. Is your action. Fly out. Okay. Well, good Lord. Okay. Okay. So Manasseh to TD Jakes. Manasseh to TD Jakes. Manasseh to TD Jakes. Ooh, it's a lot of pentacle stuff coming out here. Manasseh to TD Jakes. Okay. So, TD Jakes to Manasseh, there's an action here, and he believes that action has something to do with bribery or trying to take something from him, a manipulation of resource. Like, what do you want? What's the end game? Because you're not trying to sue me. You're not trying to put me in jail. What do you want? He believes there is something that you want, some sort of manipulation. You're trying to cause stress, anxiety, greed, that type of thing. You must want something. This is not for nothing. That's how he sees it. Manasseh gets that a person of wealth and luxury who, there's your announcements. There's something here around payment for jobs, activities, that type of thing. Not debaucherous ones necessarily, but this is like a person you hire for a thing, or somebody that you keep on your Rolodex because you give them things. And he feels more of a lesson was learned because he felt as though maybe I was a bit foolish and trusting and I needed to retreat and things. So he's seems to be approaching this from, I learned something from this. What the other two people see, I don't know, because I've seen an interview with him talking. He doesn't spew venom when he speaks, and so I don't know so much that he hates the pastor, but we'll see. So once the other two people come forward, oh, he was given large donations one day. That's all that money come up. Once the other two people come forward, if they do, what effect does this have on the reputation of TD Jakes? What effect does this have upon the reputation of the Jakes? Lord. So there's the judgment card. Judgment shall be passed, because that's what people do, mind you. But there is another little thing here within the judgment. Judgments, yes, judgment will be passed. But if you think about it, people who have a following, a beloved following, will never see the thing you show them. They will only see what they want to see. We see this with the MAGA cult all the time. Not to say that TD Jakes followers are in a cult, but when you have the cult of personality, that person can do no harm, which is why everybody that worked with Bill Cosby say, that's not the Bill Cosby I know. He was great to me. He put me on. He gave me this, da, 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 but he couldn't have possibly done that. Meanwhile, but here also in the judgment, you see the cross with the little flag here. That is the symbol of the martyr for St. George, I believe, who was killed because he would not denounce his Christianity. And so there is also, because in the Bible it says that those who died for the cause of Christ will rise first. And so those who see him as being damaged or attacked, he will be the martyr. So there will be judgment on one hand, and there will be martyrdom on the other hand. You have the Seven of Cups. Don't know what to believe. Everybody's got an agenda. And the one thing that may hurt their story too is the emerging of the power bottom stuff first. Because that sound far-fetched. And then here y'all come with more stuff. It's so either people will piece it together or they're saying everybody's just trying to take you down. Pray for the pastor. The enemy is against him. That's all you got to say. And everybody will believe it. The enemy is against you. That's how the devil works. And so, you know. The Knight of Pentacles. There is some steadfast following there too. The Knight of Wands taking charge of the situation. He will get in front of this, or at the very least, he will take control of the narrative, however it needs to be. High Priestess, There's some smoke there, though. That's what's going to be more damaging. Is there's some smoke there. There's some things that don't add up. No matter what computer you use, there are some things that just don't add up. And so, because they're going to want to know what this is about. There is a record of like an annual thing or monthly thing, something that happened on a regular basis. Something that happened and there's secrets around it. Those secrets can be exposed with the right toll or the right question, though. The high priestess is not like the moon. The moon is trying to hide something forever. The high priestess is hiding it until you tell her what she wants to hear. So you give her the right toll or you give her the right question, then the information is released. Or a subpoena. Whatever it is, there's something you have to coax it from her because she sacrificed to get it. And so here, there is something. There is something. Like a record of a payment or a record of a plane log, plane visits type of thing. Like there's something here that shows you visited someone all the time or shows that you paid someone all the time or they paid you all the time. There's a record of you knowing this person and that existence is confusing to some. And so it looks like this is also going to be something that comes out. So around taking charge, the Five of Pentacles. So there is taking charge of the lack and loss, also the reputation of the church. Because in this card, that is the salvation of those people, but you become so blind to your plight or so fixated on your plight, you become blind to your solution. Also, the opposite side is that they are shunned because you can't do anything for me here within the walls of the church. And so now the church gets a black eye because it looks like a grooming ground instead of a place of worship. So you have to take the narrative and control it, which I can see that. Absolutely. So word of warning, Knight of Swords. This is coming fast, so we may hear this in the next week or two, and this is actually going to be quite chaotic, of course, naturally. But it's going to shake up a bunch of stuff when it comes to his reputation. And I don't know if he is completely prepared, but there are 3 people here too. And they all have a different story with a similar theme. So we'll see. The Queen of Pentacles, there's something around his wife too. There's some stories there too. There's some stories there too. I don't know if they've always been together, and I don't know who he confided that information in. But there's a story there too. It seems anyway, there's a story there too. Queen of Wands, there's another woman here who will help him when it comes to the narrative. So there's a woman that is in his aid there too. And 6 of Pentacles. So his reputation will recover. The 6 of Pentacles is a give and receive. So he'll be all right. I mean, relatively speaking. He'll still be the pastor. I don't think he's stepping down. There possibly a payout, but I think he'll be all right. Manasseh's lawsuit against Jake is supposed to allegedly be filed any day. Oh, so he is going to sue him. That's what that is. So we shall see. Everybody ain't lying. That's all I'm saying. Don't nobody say the same thing about you forever and ever and ever. Well, the same person could, but when you get 11 people come out and say the same thing, then yes. Okay. We'll stay in the realm of the church and Kelly Price. Kelly Price then lit a fire at the back of the church. So. She done lit a fire at the back of the church. Let's see, though. She said, she wrote a big old whole post on the Instagrams. So, somebody went to her and was like, because she was displaying behavior that one of the commenters thought was not very Christian-like on her Instagram. I mean, like, she wasn't on the table doing the belly dance or nothing, but I think she used some language that they thought was quite crutchy. And so she was then said, hey, aren't you the same gospel artist, Sunday best person, da-da-da, and all this? So she says, yes, Lord, deliver us from pastor hoes and pedophiles. Now let's talk. That's her first sentence. It has been documented because he said it himself. Kirk Franklin had a sex addiction and a porn addiction. He is also a pastor. That is possibly who she is speaking of when she says Pastor Hose. Possibly. Maybe. So she says to this person, this one person, she went off on this one person about the whole thing. She says, deliver us from pastor hoes and pedophiles. Deliver us from self-righteous congregants who send their money to liars and pimps in plain sight. Then come deliver me. The nerve you have. It's like if you want to try to pinpoint, this is what I'm paraphrasing. If you want to pinpoint all the dangers of the church and the bad people in it, start with the pastor hoes, the pedophiles, and the people who give them their money, and then you can come to me. They're worse than I am, type thing, right? She says, I was the only artist and judge on Sunday's Best that was not effing someone else's spouse. There are 3 judges. Other than her, 4 altogether. Erica Campbell, Kirk Franklin, and Jonathan whoever. She said, I was the only one who was not effing somebody else's spouse. She went there. So I was the only one that was not effing someone else's spouse, fornicating or messing with kids and boys, but you have smoke from me. FOH means fuck out of here. You ignorant church-going, brain-dead a-hole. I'm a child of a preacher, 3+ generations, and I have no desire to be named among the gospel community. Wonder why? You don't have... Wait a minute, go back. Wonder why? You don't, because you already know what it is, and you are content to be a part of the cover-up. that has been happening for generations. My advice is get off my page now and prepare to have me tear you a new one every time. Every time you are stupid enough to come to my page with your self-righteous piety. And you stand corrected. I am an R&B artist who chooses to honor God in my R&B career. Check your gospel artists who settle for their gospel careers because they aren't good enough to make it mainstream. Names need not be called. You already know who they are, you clown. Yes, Phyllis. This started because she was giving her husband a birthday cake. And she was singing to him happy birthday. And people were criticizing because he didn't look happy. And we're saying, oh, he's so rude. And he said they were playing. Okay, this if you look behind the what you just saw, what was happening is he's got a cake, he wants to eat it, but she keeps stalling him for blowing out the candles because now she's singing songs, and then he goes to blow out the candles, then she makes him stop so she can talk, and then so she's like stalling him, and then he's got there with the face like, oh my God, well, you just come on. And so people were looking at that little bitty clip and thinking that he's being rude to her because he wants to blow out his candles, and he didn't look happy. And so when they started to criticize, then she criticized back, basically. But she went off on one person about the whole thing. She didn't have to drag the industry into it. She could have just told that person, buzz off, block them, or don't say anything at all because it's not really that important. If you're going to be in the public, you're going to be criticized. So just block it and keep it moving. I have not seen the footage of him twerking on the Clark sister. He is too much. I did not see that. No. Okay. They got a whole thing there too. I mean, just let me say this too. I forget the child name, but there was the Kojic Church, COGIC, Church of God in Christ, Kojic Church. The Kojic Church basically came down on some artist because they did a song with Beyonce. And Beyonce is Queen Devil to a lot of people in the church. Because there was this lady, I don't know if she started it, but she did a whole sermon about how she is pulling you into her coven, basically, because she's a witch. And Beyonce, she said, a group of witches is called a coven. A group of this, or a larger group, is called a hive. And so she was going there, and it was like the beehive is controlling your kids and blah, blah, blah. And so Beyonce is the devil to the Kojic Church. And you cannot do songs with secular artists because that's the devil, and you're not supposed to be in the world. You're supposed to be of God. Meanwhile, one of the hierarchies of the Kojic Church, Karen Clark Sheard, did a song with Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott is a whole rapper. Not just a rapper, but a rapper that sings very provocative songs. Not only a rapper who sings provocative songs, but the rap that she did on your song was in the melody of one of her songs called Work It. And yes, that whole song it's about intercourse. So it's you pick one and you celebrate, and you pick one and you denigrate. That's the way the church goes. You're bad, I'm not. Only because I said so. Anyway, what I do want to know though is what is the response to Kelly Price from those that she was on the panel with or from the church as a whole, because they don't like to be called out. There's another singer by the name of Leandria Johnson. Leandria Johnson is a phenomenal singer, but she was on Sunday's Best and she won, I believe. So she was one of the people whose career was taken off by that show. But she has she doesn't talk like a Christian. like a prototype Christian. She speaks like a regular person, though. And she did a live stream. She had her cigarette going, and she was cussing everybody out because she felt as though they were coming at her and judging her for who she is. And she's saying, y'all need to be judged. You sit around and you judge the LGBT community. You judge the people who don't have this. And you're like, she went there and says, all of these people who ain't done you any kind of wrong, start with yourselves. Stop pointing out to the rest of the world saying how bad the rest of the world is. Start with yourselves. And so, but she didn't say it exactly how I said it. She had a few expletives in between all those words. And so she was basically taken up for the little guy, saying, you are a bunch of hypocrites. And the church was like, oh, you shouldn't do it that way. And, oh, don't do it that way. And, oh, she's so... They tried. They really tried, right? Because she called everybody out. But, Kelly Price, what is going to be your response? Or their response to you, I should say. You got me. What is the response to Kelly Price? The 2 of 1. Someone's gearing up to do something here. So we've got some plans. 4 of Swords. Pretend it's not happening and let it go away. That's my advice, anyway. Because she said, I'm the only one not effing somebody's spouse. I'm the only one not messing with little boys. I'm the one who's not. So she threw some accusations. She said she's the only judge not doing it. Meanwhile, if you're saying you're the only one, then you are also saying that the rest of them are. You ain't got to call a name. You said you're the only one who's not. And so what I get here, we have the Wheel of Fortune, 5 of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. I think this is actually going to help her somehow. There's some sort of record or offer or something of that nature. Somebody may try to book her for something. And it's not like, it may be just a private party, but she's not tarnished from this. But you didn't make any friends in that community. There are some people, guilty heart needs no accuser, as they say. Somebody is going to defend, even though she didn't personally attack. Again, like I said, if you say you're the only judge, then you're implicating these other people. And so if you're implying that it's me, let me tell you my side of the thing here. So there is somebody who is going to come up and fight back. They're not going to do so nicely, though, but they are going to fight back. Word of warning, 3 of Pentacles. So you're not going to be booked on the Stellars anytime soon. Not to mention, let's go there too for a second. Oh, what's the woman's name? Who, y'all help me if you know. There's a song Kelly Price covered called oh damn it now, what's the song? Oh Jesus. Anyway, now I have to find it because it's gonna drive me nuts. What is the name of the darn song? Jesus. Learn how to spell. Of course it's not there. Of course it's not there either. Where's the song? It's a thank you, Phyllis. Jesus Christ, because I was nowhere close to getting that. As We Lay, that's the name of the song. That song is speaking of you sleeping with somebody else's husband. Rumor has it, because the church people chimed in. It did not actually happen, but they chimed in anyway. She did that song in an arena. Shirley Murdoch, I think so. Yes, and she did that song in a venue, and then a church venue, Stellar Awards or some award show that the church was having, happened right after that. So it looked like she performed that song at the church function, but she did not. It was a completely separate thing. And so then they started judging because of that too. So she's not going to make any friends because you didn't make any in the past either. How you got this show is because she has a big voice. Big voices are usually attracted to gospel songs. That's how Aretha started and so forth and so forth. So, but I think her collaborations within the gospel community are going to shrink significantly. There'll still be some because redemption is always possible, but we're talking significantly. It is going to shrink. It's your word of warning. Don't look for no friends over there. Right now, someone is still stalling on their plan of attack. So that's the response to you. There will be some defending. So like I said, somebody's not going to play fair. So they're going to try to hit you for something too. Everybody got a little dirt. And so they may try to hit you with something too. I don't really think it's going to be effective, but that's the response. Major change. This is actually going to change a lot. It does still help you though. This is change too. And so over time, things do improve. But for the short term, there will be some loss of friendships or connections in there, and maybe you don't want them at all, so it doesn't matter. But there will be some loss of that there. Ooh, Lord. Okay. Oh, that was not the right one. There we go. I want to know. Let's go back to Puff Daddies for a second. Will he say anything? His name has been out there quite a bit these past couple weeks. Is he going to make some sort of action? Not just a statement, but will he follow through with anything? And will he try to sue anybody for defamation? Because here's the thing that everybody is remarking on too when it comes to Cat Williams, because Cat Williams' name is Puff Daddy name too, saying that he offered him $50 million and he had to turn it down because he knew what was going to follow it. And Kevin Hart accepted it, and so that's why Kevin Hart is where he is. But when Cat Williams did all his spilling of the teas about people stealing jokes and people doing this and people doing that, nobody said he was lying. They just said you shouldn't have said that. They were trying to clear some air. Ricky Smiley did a statement about clearing the air about the Money Mike part that he was talking about. Ludacris did a freestyle. Tiffany Haddish came out and said some things. Ice Cube cleared up some rumors about the casting. So everybody's coming out and saying a little bit of everything, but nobody said he's lying necessarily. But everybody's responding because he said everybody's name. And then you get a few people that say, yeah, he's telling the truth. So anyway, Puff Daddy, will you break a silence? Will you carry through with an action? Or are you going to do anything? Or keep calm and carry on? What are we going to do here? Because mind you, he's got enough money to be unbothered. He paid Cassie. It's done. You know what, too? I am recollecting. He was on the gossip show, Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams brought it up that somebody accused him of making passes or advances or something like that when he was on that show. She said, "Is that true?" or something of that nature. And his response was, "Come on, that man loves me." Not yes or no. He took his glasses off and said something like that. Seven of Pentacles. Wait and see. Wait and see. Assessing. Oh. So wait and see. Two cards of fertility and harvest here. Wait and see. What are we waiting to see on? Waiting to see where this goes. News cycles. They drive public opinion. And so some people never forget certain things, but they don't talk about it all the time. If you don't talk about it all the time, the next time you see that person, it may go away. Sometimes, for some people. So I think he is waiting to see what happens. If more people come out here with the Seven of Pentacles, something's in the ground. So it is going to. This is kind of predicting that there will be an abundance of problems occurring, or an abundance of something. I'll say that. Seven of Pentacles is in the ground. The nine, or the harvest card, or the Empress card, actually, will give birth to whatever that is. And it will be in abundance. It will be in very large numbers. Doesn't mean he can't take it, but he's waiting to see. The Three of Pentacles. Dark money, your collaborations. This is also a card of Freemasonry, too, so there is a bit of secrecy behind it. The Knight of Cups. Dates and wits and charms and romance. Offers that are being made. Public image as well. A lot is going to come out, but I think that they have the power to withstand because of the power to suppress. There will still be rumors, though. Talks about the image. Eight of Wands, Knight of Cups. So he will make a statement, I think. And that statement will be backed up by people he has helped. And so that's where this sort of collaborative effort comes in at. You get people to come out and question your character. You bring people out to solidify it and say, oh no, Puff Daddy you're accusing him of being is not the one he actually is. This is what he did for me, and he didn't want publicity for it, and he took my mother and he paid for her treatments, and now she's well, and then he took us out of poverty into this and didn't expect anything in return, and somebody's going to come out for his image sake and try to clean it all up. That's your collaboration. Again, the ability to suppress. Actions, word of warning. So yes, he will have to do something or say something at some point. The world. Someone is going to make that public statement. Word of warning, the King of Cups. There is a man coming forward, though, who has a very damning story. Well, I mean, there's already that. This is, it just probably gets worse. There is a guy who's already telling that story. Page of Pentacles is how it ends. This is news about resources. This is news about contracts or something of that nature. There's going to be printed articles and things about that too, that they may pay for. So again, image repair. So that is the only reason I think he's going to actually come forth, is for the sake of image repair. And I think it will work. Well, for some. Those who don't need convincing. Anyway. Since we're on the subject of reputations, Oprah Winfrey is being accused of being a horrible person. Basically. He and others co-produced the Color Purple remake with Taraji P. Henson and Fantasia Barrino. So Fantasia and her and the other child, I forget her name, they've been doing the press circuit as you're supposed to. And Taraji has been saying that I've not been paid my worth. There's also conversations about how she almost walked away from it because they were not coming up with the right numbers. She said too, or she's being quoted, so I didn't hear her say this, it was just a quote somebody wrote down, that she was complaining about car service, saying that, why do I have to get a rental car and drive myself from my hotel to the studio? This is not how things are usually done. You have people pick up the talent and take them, because now you're talking liability if I got to drive myself and da-da-da. And so she's saying, where's the car service? And then she reportedly said that they told her, well, if we do it for you, then we got to do it for everybody. And she's like, well, do it for everybody. The budget, rumor has it, the budget for the movie was $100 million. You can get these cheering a car service. It ain't got to be a Bugatti, but you can pick them up in something. Get a bicycle with a basket on the front or something. Anyway, so they also complained that, rumor anyway, because I didn't hear her say this. It was just in a quote somebody wrote down in an article, that they had to share dressing rooms. They didn't have their own dressing rooms, and that the craft service was not also available all the time. So you had to basically fend for yourself if you were ever hungry for whatever reason. And so, how is this going to play out for Oprah? Because now everybody's pointing the finger at her because she's one of the producers. Now, a producer is not the project manager to where they're there all the time. A producer usually puts in the investment and hires people to be in the places that they need to be. So if you got producer director, then that person's always there. But she was just a producer. And so she put people there. And those are the people you should have went to if you had an issue of some sort. So it's kind of like Your CEO will hire a regional vice president who hires a district manager who hires a manager. So you have a chain of command that you can go through before you got to the CEO if you had an issue. And at the same time, when you are high profile, though, you are expected to be involved. But it is technically not her responsibility to get you car service. But if you go to whoever's managing the studio or your set, your assistant directors, your directors, your whatever, your production people, and saying, why don't we have this? And then they say, well, my hands are tied, I don't know. Then go to your producers because they're funding the whole thing and say, you got a problem here and we need somebody to fix it. So, like it, love it, hate it, or leave it, it still has your name attached to it, and you do need to fix some things if some things are not fixed. So how does this affect the reputation of Oprah Winfrey going forward? Let's see. Because mind you, when Monique called her out, then she got some backlash, but Monique looked more, not crazed, that's the wrong word. She looked like she was attacking. And so Oprah got the sympathy from some. So there's the Page of Wands. So a lot is going to be written and spoken about this. The Five of Swords. So the narrative will be spun, I think, to the underhanded tactics or the unfair practices. And so it's going to be one of those situations to where you look like not a bully, but a person who's shady, who doesn't do things by the rule. So you'll have that out. What's that? That's out there now. But you'll have that. There is the Judgment. Lover's card. Hierophant. Judgment upon the Hierophant. So judgment upon those who are in charge, who don't really change, who are very rigid, who are hard to press for some sort of change. This is not going to look good going forward. Death card with the Lover's card. There will be some support that is lost. Ten of Cups, word of warning. Yes, this is not going to look good. Not in the world of public opinion. Four of Wands, still strong and established, though. The Sun, word of solace, you will recover. And then the King of Cups, there will be support, so she'll be fine. Because mind you, this is not the first. This won't be the last. If it's not Monique and Taraji did not name Oprah necessarily. It's just being attributed to her because she's the big name that's involved. If it's not Monique, if it's not Whoopi Goldberg, if it's not 50 Cent, who also said Oprah's a cad. So there are people who have similar stories, and like I said, everybody ain't lying, so that's their experience, though. But she'll be fine. You'll lose some support. You'll lose some reputation. Doesn't mean people are going to hate you. I'm not personally an Oprah fan, but she'll be fine. Because I don't understand why you do a expose on Michael Jackson, but not Harvey Weinstein, who you're pictured kissing on the face. And Russell Simmons, but not Harvey Weinstein. But anywho, you do you, boo. I think she'd be all right, though. Because I don't think she has malice towards these people to where she was like, okay, hire them, but don't give them a car cert. Like, I don't think that type of thing was going down. So, yeah, give her a little slack, I say. But Taraji, who has been, I don't want to say complaining because that's not the right word. She has been stating her grievances about being undervalued in Hollywood, to where, you know, you got your Golden Globes and your Oscar nominations, and you got all the things you say I should have for you to say that I'm a good actor, even though I know I'm an actress. I know I'm a good actress. But at the same time, why is it that when we come to negotiations, I have to start down here instead of up here where my resume say I should be? Like, why do I have to start ground floor every single time? And that's what she said is frustrating, is I am phenomenal at what I do. And she is. I don't think there's a dispute on that. And she can sing. I never knew she could sing. She sings fantastically. She could do what you need her to do in the roles you put her in. And yet every time she goes to the negotiating table, she starts where the novices are, instead of up here where the Glenn Closes and stuff are. But at the same time, the studios don't like to hear that, because if rumor has it that me, Studio A, wants to put on a movie, and we are possibly in talks with Taraji P. Henson, now everybody's going to be like, hey, Studio A, did you pay her fairly? So maybe I don't want that publicity. Maybe I'll just go with Viola Davis, who also complained about finances. So what is the future for Taraji P. Henson in the industry? Because it's nice to be valued by your own people, and that's kind of a problem she was having with Oprah. And The Color Purple is where people are attributing to Oprah anyway, is that y'all should have paid her fairly, and it's blah, 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 blah. Tyler Perry said he paid her more money than she's ever made when she worked for him. So I don't think she'll have any problem finding work, but let's see what it says. I think she's got stuff lined up already, so she'll be all right. But we'll see. Things change. Because Monique was mad, saying, hey, where was you when I was saying that? Four of Swords, so some rest and retreat. And the Emperor. This is not people pulling back. I think she's going to find peace within someone who is in charge of something. So you don't have to go to a studio. There may need to be people who are more independent of a Lionsgate or more independent of a Sony or something like that. Ace of Wands, actions to follow. There are plans off the ground. The Moon. So some people are going to pull back. Yes. Some people are going to pull back because of the unknown. You have been marked in their mind as a person who does not play ball. You're difficult, like they said about Monique. Because difficult means when I say this, you don't automatically say yes. Because she did not automatically say yes to The Color Purple. She also was not first choice. And so they figured she would take it cheaper, and she didn't. And so there's that. Thank you, Jana. King of Pentacles. I think she's fine. She's got some stability heading her way. There is a guy here, which is why I said she found some solace within someone who's got their own thing, who may be African Americans too, but she's found a guy here who will actually do something really good for her, or it will be good for her, not necessarily do something good for her, but that will be good for her going forward. Word of warning, the Knight of Wands. So there are some things that are going to go a little out of control, and you are going to have to take control of those things, but it's par for the course. So she kind of knows that already. The environment, there is burden, but there's a lot of hard work. Here's the thing, too, about the Ten of Wands. It's not a bad card, necessarily, because it's coming along with this. You may be pulled in multiple directions with this person here. And there is a need for take care of your physical and emotional health while you're still climbing your ladder. So go do the things you need to do, but do not inundate yourself because you feel as though opportunities will dry up. Because this may be scary here, because she may have been in talks with somebody else who pulled back because of her statements. And so it may look a bit frightening, like, oh, is that whole industry going this way? And so here you have too much to do. Not too much to do, but the things you have to do, you need to organize them better. The Ten of Wands is still possible to carry the 10 wands, but not all at the same time. And so there's just some things you need to put in order is all. Again, this is why that's your word of warning. Just some things you need to take control of and put them in order. Be just fine. She's a spiritual lady, so she knows God talks to her. She'll be fine. The Hierophant and your word of solace. There you go. And there you go to 8 of Wands. God talks to her. She'll be all right. She'll be fine. But take care of thyself. You shall be fine. 50 Cent says she'll work with Taraji. Did he do Empire? Was that his show? Whose show was that? Was Lee Daniels' show, wasn't it? Okay. He did Power. That was okay. Yeah. So she'll be all right. Kevin Hart is being accused of being a child of the Illuminati. Which I hate that word. It sounds too conspiracy theorish, but to make it simple. I don't want to do accusatory readings, but I guess we do all the time in politics, though, don't we? Because Kevin Hart said, "Get that hate out your heart, champ." He didn't say Cat Williams was lying about nothing. But at the same time, you don't have to defend yourself against lies because people make up stuff all the time. So, as long as you know, right? Was Cat Williams' accusations about Kevin Hart accurate? Were they accurate? Lord have mercy. Were they accurate? Because what Ricky Smiley's point too, because Ricky Smiley also was one of the comedians who put on the dress. Now, to be fair, okay, men in dresses to me is funny. To me, the whole thing to me is funny because it's preposterous. They don't look like women, and therefore it's funny. It's not like that. What movie was that where the woman played a man who was playing a woman? That type of thing. It was some movie like that where the woman was dressed like a man who was dressing like a woman. It was I forget what that movie is. I never seen it. I just seen it roll because this comes up in these conversations. And so the whole conspiracy is that Hollywood has a concerted effort to demasculate the black man by putting him in a dress. There's Medea. There is Sister Geraldine, or whatever Ricky Smiley's thing is. There is Big Mama's House with Martin, and Martin did Shanae. And then there is Jamie Foxx, who did Wanda. And then there is Flip Wilson, who did. So there's a whole bunch of that type of thing. Victor Victoria. There's all that. But at the same time, Shanae was funny. If y'all don't know who Shanae is, you've got to look it up. Martin Shanae. I don't even know how to spell that, but that whole character is hilarious. Wanda was hilarious. Medea was hilarious. Flip Wilson was hilarious. Nobody says anything about the white guys who do it. They were making the distinction because they were trying to compare Medea, Tyler Perry, and Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire. Robin Williams, Mrs. Doubtfire was a man who was trying to spend more time with his kids, therefore went in drag to be a babysitter. Medea, the character, is supposed to be a woman, period. A whole grandmother. So it's not a person playing like Mrs. Doubtfire, a man in women. Bernice Jenkins, that's what it is. It's not the same, but you had Jim Carrey, who also dressed as a woman in Living Color. So it's one of the things to where, and Martin Short, I think, did it too. So there's not, I think personally, yes, there are some who have this put them in a dress type thing, but I do not think you can attribute that to everybody. Like Martin, who did Shanae, and Ricky Smiley, and Flip Wilson, and Jamie Foxx. I think they just did it because it's funny. I laughed. But let's see. Anyway, they said basically that's Kevin Hart sold his soul to Puff Daddy and the powers that be. Knight of Cups, Image. Nine of Cups, Reward. That does not mean what that means. Okay. And then there's the Lover's card. Let's keep going. How about that? There's the Ten of Cups. Lord have mercy. Page of Pentacles. The Death card. If I get the star, we're done all the way. The King of Pentacles. The Seven of Cups. The Seven of Wands. And the World card. Listen. Okay. This is what I see. I ain't saying what happened. There is a person here in search of reward, contracts, checks. If you want to talk about anything to do with sexual behaviors, that's what you want to say. Knight of Cups is image, but it's dates, charms, wits, romance. The Lover's card is the Lover's card. And this is your relationships, your yin and yang too, and all that type of stuff. There's also a temptation card within or a temptation aspect within the Lover's card. This is the Garden of Eden. Do you remember what happened back there? The serpent tempted Eve. Eve said, hey, sure, I'll go for that. They got kicked out or accepted into the world. Somebody was accepted to be a part of. This did come from some man here, very wealthy, very well connected to. He's got a collection of things or people. But yes, there is someone who gained a lot because of this. I'll just say that. So what time is it? You know, they talked about that JW2. I seen a interview with Damon Wayans. This is a while ago. He was on the Breakfast Club talking about the men on film. You know how they would do the reviews for the movies, saying they couldn't do that nowadays because, you know, everybody's so sensitive, and there's two straight guys playing two gay guys who are doing the whole thing. I think it would be hilarious. I think you could do it if you understood that there's no malice behind what I'm doing. Then I think you can accept what I'm doing as comedy. The thing about the reason Dave Chappelle keeps making the news is because some people don't see it as a joke, because they don't see you as an ally of that community. And so because you can get, like, there are white comedians who can get on stage and tell jokes about black people because they're not seen as threats or as some sort of person who's demeaning them. They're telling you something about a stereotype that may be true about some black people. And so, boom, you go for it. If you stand on stage as a heterosexual person doing gay jokes, it can go if you are seen as a person who's not demeaning or threatening. And I think men on film can be one of them things to where it's just funny. I think it's funny. So there's that. And Jim Carrey, I mean, who's he harmed? I think you could laugh at. Again, we are still sensitive. There's that. We get mad at everything. But anyway, Chris Jericho. So, Lord. Okay, let me do it this way. Because this is too many pronouns. It's too many he's and he's and he and he and he and he and he. So I'm going to try to make this a little more simpler, maybe. Because this is a world that if you don't watch wrestling, you may know nothing about. I don't watch wrestling, but I know who he is because I used to watch wrestling because he's been in wrestling for 50,000 years. Okay. So we'll say, for the sake of me explaining this to you, this is Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is who we're talking about. This is CM Punk is his name. C as in cat, M as in man, Punk as in punk. So CM Punk joins the company. Chris Jericho doesn't like him. Already starting off wrong foot. So Chris Jericho here calls CM Punk a cancer. He's the cancer on the locker room. He's not good for the team player spirit that is going on around here. We'll call this guy, they're brothers. They're called the Young Bucks. Bucks. The Young Bucks charge into CM Punk's locker room to confront him because they have a friend on the outside who was supposedly done wrong by CM Punk. So the Young Bucks rush into CM Punk's locker room. CM Punk then attacks the Young Bucks, and they all get suspended. This guy is the boss. His name is Tony Khan. He suspends the Young Bucks and CM Punk. CM Punk goes away, the Young Bucks come back because they are, in Tony Khan's company, EVPs, executive vice presidents, who rushed into the locker room of one of their wrestlers. But they're executive vice presidents in Tony Khan's company. Chris Jericho is not. He's just really close to Tony Khan because he's their biggest star. CM Punk eventually comes back, but they have an NDA where they cannot speak. The Young Bucks and CM Punk say nothing about what's going on, what happened. Everything is just rumor and conjecture. Tony Khan says nothing because why would you? Why do you want to air your dirty laundry? This is very embarrassing for him and his company. These are the people that were involved. There was a woman there, too, who was also involved in the incident because she was in the room. She does not have an NDA, so she can talk. But beside the point. So these people here, Tony Khan, CM Punk, and the Young Bucks, say nothing. They were the ones in the room and the ones involved. There's another guy too, but whatever. Chris Jericho now says, now mind you, this happened like a year ago or something. Chris Jericho now says, Christmas Day, that he was there. The reason he's saying he was there is because CM Punk has now hired a lawyer to sue Tony Khan. That lawyer, Chris Jericho got on Twitter Christmas Day and attacked the lawyer, saying, you know, you're a-hole, no, blah, blah, blah. He went there with the lawyer. And so the lawyer, because he told him, I was there, I know what happened, and I didn't sign an NDA. I've never signed an NDA in my life. And then the lawyer was like, well, thanks for telling me that you were also involved. I didn't know that. And thanks for also telling me you don't have a non-disclosure agreement. I didn't know that either. Even though he said also, I think the non-disclosure agreement is in your contract because it's in your handbook, your company handbook from Tony Khan. But if you say you were involved and you don't have an NDA, I'll take your word for it. Noted. So he talked himself into a corner there. Then some other guy comes in, Chris Jericho. Some other guy comes in and says, hey, Chris Jericho, what about all the NDAs you make other people sign? Because now there is plenty of accusations that he has harassed many women, and they all had to sign NDAs so that they didn't say anything. Chris Jericho makes no statement. Radio silence. Because what do you say now? Tony Khan makes no statement. Tony Khan was asked about it, and he said he's not going to address these rumors, unfounded rumors, especially from that guy. But this woman apparently has a story that she was hanging out with the wrestlers because she is also a wrestler. She was invited back to Chris Jericho's hotel room, and she gets there and he's the only one there, and she thought other people would be there, and so she freaks out and leaves because he's there in his underwear. Or not. So he has been accused of harassment. Now, as you can imagine, this does not look good for the company. This does not look good for Chris Jericho. It most certainly does not look good for Tony Khan. Still, from the perspective, no, let's do it this way. What is going to happen here? Oh, there's a bird flying out. Because here's the way I see it too. Tony Khan had a wrestler by the name of, doesn't matter. He had another wrestler. That wrestler was accused and fired because they had proof. Chris Jericho has a 10-year contract with his company, with Tony Khan's company. Chris Jericho not only has a 10-year contract with that company, he is one of their biggest names because he's been in wrestling forever. So he's one of their biggest names of the company. Do you really wash your hands of him when you have this huge contract and he is one of the biggest names you have, and so many of your people have been leaking out to the other company because of the way yours is run? So this would be a very big loss, maybe. As of right now, the live events that Chris Jericho attends, he gets booed because people maybe that don't like him, or these rumors are now catching fire, and because everybody's heard about it. If you watch anything to do with wrestling, everybody's heard about it. So now he's getting booed. So maybe letting him go is not the worst thing in the world. And if Tony Khan paid a woman for her silence, what does that look like for him? So there's a whole bunch that is implicated here, to where you didn't take action when she brought it to you. You just paid her off so she would go away. And so, what's going to happen next? What is going to happen? Wait, let me see. Let me click. No, that Amazon link doesn't work, Sharon. Why it doesn't, I don't know, but that Amazon link doesn't work. So, let's see. Oh, there's strength card. What's going to happen here? All this gossip y'all do, Jesus. It is so easy to live a simple life. I don't understand why they don't want to try it. So there is justice. Queen of Cups. Star. Ace of Swords. Page of Swords. The truth will out. 8 of Pentacles. The 6 of Swords. The Knight of Cups. The Empress. And the Emperor. What's going to happen? Someone shall make an exit. It'll be slow but sure. Absolutely. Loss of job there. Or not loss, well, it's loss of job technically, but you're sort of being able to go out on your own term, sort of. But you're going out because of bad news. That's somebody. I'll just say that. But there is a woman here bringing a lawsuit, or bringing some truth in lawsuit. There is a lot here around the in particular star, center of attention. Also, more lies or rumors are going to be coming out here in the future. You have to get ahead of this. There's a lot coming out. It does affect the image. Knight of Cups. They're in wrestling. They don't call it Me Too. They call it something else. But there will be more. There will be a lot more. And so there's some more women coming forward. And this does rest upon the head of the man in charge, Tony Khan. And so he's got a lot he has to deal with. One or two things could happen for him here too. He could look like Superman and correct the situation with the Emperor and the Knight of Cups. this is personally, I don't think he will, because he is not the strongest when it comes to protecting the image of himself or his company. He blathers, he talks more than I do. A lot more than I do. And it is rumored that he has ADHD, and so he's on a medication that always, whatever is supposed to tamper him down doesn't work. He's always hyper. And so his sentences have no commas and no periods. It just blows away. And so he's not going to, I don't think he's going to protect the image very well, but he does have the opportunity to cut this off and deal with this in a managerial sort of way and say bye-bye Chris Jericho, because I think more is about to come out. Or he can do what he has been doing and says, well, this is a closed door matter and I really can't comment on it. And then when you don't comment on something and it's in the public makes up what they do not know. Then you look worse. And so that's what's going to happen, I do think. Yes, I know it's broken. I don't know why it's broken, because I've never changed the link. But I don't know. I don't know. Because I tried to send it to Becca one day and it still didn't work. So I don't know. Okay, that's 2 hours. That's enough. There's like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4 more stories, something like that. We could save those for another time. I need a coffee and a sandwich. So I will see y'all Sunday for the Sunday live stream. Also, if you are interested in the tarot class, the next one is March the 3rd. And so we're doing reservations. No payments, no none of that. So we're taking reservations, and all you need to do is email me, TarotsApprentice@gmail.com, and I'll put your name down, and that's all you need to do. And then when the time gets closer, then I'll send you all the information you need to know. So I'll see y'all Saturday.